This morning, another American is shot and killed by ICE agents in Minnesota. The details and Madison's solidarity protest plans ahead.
And we're continuing to see bitterly cold temperatures today. I'll talk about when we'll finally see them warm up coming up.
Plus, a warning for brides-to-be after a local venue changed ownership, resulting in wedding mismanagement. It's Sunday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm your weekend morning anchor, Michelle Renee Quinn. We begin with breaking news at the top of the hour. Officials are responding to reports of shots fired and a man needing CPR. That happened on Primrose Lane in Madison just a few hours ago. Officials can confirm police are on the scene. We do not yet know the condition of the person shot, but we will continue to update you on air and online as the story develops. You can get those latest developments on your phone with the Channel 3000 News app. It's free to download. Just search Channel 3000 in your news app store. Let's check in now with meteorologist Jacob Montesano live from our studio in Madison.
Thanks, Michelle Renee. Temperatures still on the colder side. Actual temperatures below zero once again in the negative teens for you folks up north in La Crosse. And the big difference between today and yesterday, despite the actual temperatures being a little bit warmer, we are still seeing, or I shouldn't say still, we are now seeing some breezy conditions kind of move into the region. And so that's causing wind chills to actually be a bit colder compared to this time yesterday for some areas. Negative 20 is the wind chill in Madison, negative 24 in Viroqua. A lot of areas seeing just a little bit of wind causing those wind chills to be a lot colder. So although actual temperatures are a bit warmer compared to this time yesterday, wind chills are a bit colder. And we're going to continue to see those bitterly cold wind chills throughout the day into tomorrow. They are going to stay below zero and then possibly get close to negative 30 once we get towards Monday morning. So very cold temperatures are still going to continue for at least 24 hours, but I will talk about a slight warm up throughout the week coming up a bit later.
And we will be looking forward to that warm up. Thank you, Jacob. Topping our news this morning, the Minnesota National Guard is now activated in an effort to restore order in Minneapolis. This after another fatal shooting involving federal law enforcement yesterday morning. The 37-year-old protester Alex Peretti was an intensive care nurse at a Department of Veteran Affairs hospital. ICE officials say he was in possession of a firearm, but Minnesota officials say he had a valid gun permit and condemned the use of deadly force. This shooting comes one day after thousands of protesters took to the streets of Minneapolis to protest ICE activities in Minnesota. That's following the January 7th shooting of 37-year-old Renee Good. Federal officials say the officer who fatally shot Peretti is an 8-year Border Patrol veteran. Protesters took to the streets in response across the nation. That's including a small one here in Madison yesterday. People braved the cold to protest in solidarity, showing their support for Minnesota. Protests at the Capitol are planned to continue this morning. That's at 2 p.m. at the Forward statue. 37-year-old Alex Peretti, he was born in Illinois, raised in Wisconsin, graduated high school in Green Bay. His father told the Associated Press he cared about people deeply and was very upset with what was happening in Minneapolis. He was participating in protests following the killing of Renee Good by the officer because of the Trump immigration crackdown.
I just saw a video of more than 6 masked agents pummeling one of our constituents and shooting him to death. How many more residents, how many more Americans need to die or get badly hurt for this operation to end?
Peretti was an American citizen with no prior criminal record. The shooting comes roughly 8 weeks into Operation Metro Surge, in which thousands of ICE agents first descended upon Minnesota. Coming up at 7:30 on weekend mornings, how Wisconsin officials are reacting. And more local news this morning, the Wisconsin State Patrol says they arrested a man Friday night on suspicion of his 5th offense of operating while impaired. A state trooper pulled over a vehicle on the I-94 eastbound just west of Johnson Creek for speed violation, lane deviation, and following too closely. This was just before 8 p.m. The trooper says the driver, a 62-year-old man from Milwaukee, showed signs of impairment. Field testing showed he was intoxicated and he was arrested. The man had his blood chemically tested at the hospital before being booked into jail for failure to install an ignition interlock device and operating with a revoked license. Officials add that he was on a probation hold. In Janesville, the Rock County Sheriff says an emergency report reported at the University of Whitewater's Rock County campus is believed to have been caused by fireworks. On Friday, a shots fired call came in at 2:52 p.m. for a university building on Kellogg Avenue. Agencies arrived just before 3 p.m. to secure the scene and investigate. The campus locked down, but due to the university schedule, there were limited staff and students present. 2 searches were made in total, and officials confirm no one was hurt and there is no evidence of any shots being fired. President Trump has officially been back in office for a year, but do Wisconsinites think the year has been successful? Political reporter Ellie LaLiberte is looking at the poll numbers today on For the Record. Here's a preview. The most important topics for Wisconsinites are inflation, the cost of living, and healthcare costs. That's according to Marquette Law School poll director Charles Franklin. Franklin joins me this week on For the Record to recap Trump's first year back in office and how moves he's made have played out in the Badger State.
The other thing that we see is Wisconsin, like the country, is concerned about tariffs and really think tariffs have hurt Wisconsin farmers. And on that issue, even among Republicans, only a third think that tariffs have helped farmers, a third of Republicans think they've hurt farmers, and a third of Republicans think they haven't had any effect on farmers.
Overall national approval ratings for the president have come down over the course of the year, but it is slightly above where he was this time in his first term. Franklin says in Wisconsin, the president is polling slightly above the national average. You can catch Ellie's conversation with Franklin this morning at 10:30 on For the Record right here on Channel 3. This year, while the country's overall unemployment rate fell to 4.4%, it rose to 7.3% among black women. Some economists say the proliferation of artificial intelligence and the elimination of DEI programs have negatively impacted black women. Then there's the cuts to government jobs where black women are represented at twice the rate as in the private sector.
To get to a point where you made a great salary, made 6 figures, and to have that ripped from you, and not because you didn't do the job well, is painful.
More than 300,000 black women have lost or left their jobs in the first half of 2025. About 69% of black mothers are breadwinners in their household. Now to your morning health watch. Being diagnosed with ADHD as a child is linked with health problems during midlife. A University College London study found that people who had ADHD traits at the age of 10 were 14% more likely to have health issues like migraines, back problems, cancer, epilepsy, or diabetes by middle age. Part of the reason may be because people with ADHD are more likely to smoke, have a higher BMI, or face mental health issues. And cases of heart disease and strokes are declining, yet cardiovascular disease remains the #1 killer in the U.S. A new report from the American Heart Association found that rates increased over 5 years, likely due to the COVID pandemic, but have since started to drop. Even so, 1 in 4 deaths in the U.S. in 2023 were caused by heart disease or stroke. And if you get hooked on binge-watching shows, a new study says you're more likely to be lonely. The study in China surveyed people who watch at least 3.5 hours of TV a day and found that nearly 2/3 were addicted to binge-watching. Those people reported higher rates of loneliness, and researchers say they may use binge-watching to escape and avoid negative situations. Still ahead on Weekend Mornings, a call for action story impacting brides across the state, the wedding warning you need to know.
But first, I'll be back with a full look at the forecast for the upcoming work week. This is Weekend Mornings. Keep it here. Welcome back. Here's a look at the alert day information once again. It's for all of southern Wisconsin, and it will last through Monday morning, where wind chills could be back to near -30. Now, looking specifically at the cold weather advisory, that is going to go into effect at midnight tonight, last until noon tomorrow. Not under the cold weather advisory right now, but we're still going to see very, very cold temperatures throughout the day. Wind chills will be staying below 0, maybe getting close to 0 at times, but still going to be very, very cold. Then those negative 20-degree wind chills are going to return. Again, some areas could see those wind chills getting into the negative 30s again, but we're likely not going to see the negative 40s that we saw Friday morning, but still dangerously cold, and those wind chills will stay below zero all day Monday, and then getting a little bit better for Tuesday, but we're still certainly going to be on the colder side as wind chills will continue to be below zero. We're just not going to see the negative 20s return. At least we're not likely to. But for this morning and tomorrow morning, we're still going to be in this yellow box, which means frostbite could occur in as little as 20 to 30 minutes. So it's still important to bundle up and limit your time outdoors because the cold is still going to be dangerous, and that just because the coldest of this bitter cold has passed, it doesn't mean that we can't see some dangerous cold. Now, as we take a look at the snowfall chances over the next 7 days, we're really not going to see much of it. Could see some light snow for areas southeast of Madison with that system moving across the United States, and maybe some light snow Monday night and Tuesday. But for the most part, we are going to be pretty dry, but the snow on the ground is not going to go anywhere as temperatures for the most part are going to easily stay below freezing. But notice towards next weekend and early next week, they will start to rise into the 20s. Now, this is La Crosse's 10-day forecast, but going over to Madison, it's going to be very similar with highs in the teens for the middle of the week, lows near zero. So still cold with wind chills likely going to be below zero just about every morning, but it will be better. Then we get to the weekend and we start to see the 20s return. Then early next week, we could start to see some mornings not have wind chills below zero to start the day. And although they still will be cold, they will obviously be a lot better than what we're seeing right now.
And I will certainly be looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's this cold's a little much, I'll say that.
Anything is better than these negatives. I would like to feel my fingers.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Thanks, Jacob. We'll be checking in shortly. Our Call for Action team is getting results for one local bride after major complications, sharing a warning about ownership management when it comes to your wedding venue. Sydney Christensen contacted Call for Action after new management at Over the Vines failed to respond and to return her damage deposit. Over the Vines has been in business for 13 years, sold to new management in June.
When I found out they sold, my stomach dropped. For some reason, I knew this was not going to just be a change of ownership, doesn't matter. I knew deep down that I was going to have issues.
Christensen says she and at least 5 other brides have not received their deposits back, despite contracts promising refunds within 14 days.
Originally, with all the contracts, it was through the old owners, but they said everything was going to line up and he was going to continue with the contract.
Communication is one problem.
I have not heard from him since the wedding.
In addition to brides alleging staff drinking on the job, unprofessional behavior during ceremonies, and missing food service.
At this point, it's not even about the money to me. I mean, I would love the money back, but I just don't want what happened to us happen to other brides because, you spend tens of thousands, you have dreams of your wedding, and for this to happen, it's truly upsetting.
After News 3 Now began investigating, the venue announced Josh Call has been removed as manager. The new ownership says, "We are confident that the new management will bring fresh perspectives and innovative strategies to further the company's success going into the 2026 season. We are working internally to fix and restructure our organization and communication system going forward so that no lapse ever happens again." Now, it did take some persistence from Call for Action, and after News 3 got involved, Christensen finally received her deposit back. Remember, you can always submit a case for Call for Action when consumer issues arise, especially if you're a bride still awaiting your deposit. Just head to channel3000.com/callforaction. In more consumer news this morning, loyalty programs for frequent travelers have changed, and it's becoming harder to earn perks for staying true to your airline. In the past, you used to be able to earn airline miles based on the miles flown. Nowadays, it's all about the dollars spent, and not all money spent is created equal. American Airlines recently announced their basic economy tickets will not get you miles that you can redeem for flights.
These companies are really looking at how much you're adding to their bottom line as opposed to just the quantity of spending or the quantity of flights.
Prior to the change, American Airlines customers earned 2 miles for every dollar spent on basic economy, and at Delta in 2022, reaching top-tier Diamond meant spending $15,000 qualifying dollars a year. Now it's $28,000. Let's head to some morning motivational after that. Here's a quote from Charles Swindoll.
Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% of how you react. And, they always say it's all about how you handle adversity in terms of how, successful you're going to be, or, anytime you're going to get your goal in life, you're going to face some obstacles. It's just natural.
Absolutely. And you guys, when you're facing those obstacles, think about how you're handling it. The choices that you make, they have consequences. Keep it here. Ahead, we are taking a look at a TikTok defamation charge.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Welcome back. A Wisconsin mother who posted a 5-second TikTok video of her disabled daughter's choir concert is being threatened with a defamation lawsuit. The mom says her child's school district has now turned things into a legal battle after the video got more than 18 million views. Madison Morandi is reporting the mother's alleges that she was only trying to raise awareness.
This is the viral video a mother posted last month. It shows her daughter's 2023 concert with the Pittsville School District, in her wheelchair, off to the side from the rest of the students. Amanda Vogel says a solution would have been a row on the floor with her daughter and that inclusion matters.
Was there a series of events that led to her feeling it was a non-inclusive environment for her daughter, or was it this isolated incident at the concert?
Yeah, our client is free to continue speaking about the issue of inclusion. The reason why Will got involved was because this is a First Amendment case.
Corey Brewer from Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty is representing Vogel.
And honestly, I'm upset with what I saw in the video, but I'm even more bothered by the fact that the school thought that they could force her to take it down through intimidation.
The district consulted lawyers after seeing the video and sent police officers to Amanda Vogel's home.
If I were in their shoes, I wouldn't have shown up at her home at all. And the problem here is that the school incited this response. Police shouldn't be showing up at people's homes for things they post on social media, especially when they're not threatening.
A Pittsville police officer requested Vogel take down the video. I obtained the police report from Pittsville PD. The officer told Vogel she wasn't being asked to take it down because of her First Amendment rights, but because of school safety concerns. Vogel did take it down for a short time, then put it up again. During a second PD visit, Vogel was told the school would be sending a cease and desist letter accusing Vogel of defamation.
Government entities should not be undergoing actions that chill speech or pressure individuals to stop speaking.
A request to drop the threat of defamation is in front of the district, which has until tomorrow to respond. The Pittsville School District didn't issue a news statement, but referred to a response it issued last week. In it, the superintendent said the district believes the parents use social media in a way that negatively impacted all associated with its schools. 7:22 now, let's check in with meteorologist Jacob Montesano. Hey.
Hey, Michelle, Renee, looking at the current radar, we're not seeing any snow, but there is some lake effect snow in southeast Wisconsin, and some of the snow from the system down south has sort of crept into our area a little bit. But zooming further out, you can see just how much snow is impacting parts of the United States. This system is extending all the way from Boston right now, all the way to the southwest to Dallas, and you can see plenty of snow, freezing rain, sleet. And that's all going to continue to be to the south of us. And as we take a look, there are still plenty of winter storm warnings, extreme cold warnings in the blue, ice storm warnings. There's a lot going on across the United States. And this system is going to continue to impact portions of the areas to the south of us throughout the day today, moving into the northeast by the overnight hours. And although a lot of the snow has kind of passed for some of these locations, there could still be upwards of a foot of snow for areas near the Ohio Valley. But even though that most of the snow has passed, the total accumulation of the snow could easily get over a foot for areas that normally don't see this amount of snow. So a very massive storm across the United States. Meanwhile, we continue to be very, very cold.
Thank you, Jacob. And as we continue to push through this stretch of bitter cold, you can help News 3 Now and Channel 3000 this upcoming week for the Week of Warmth. Help us raise money for the Keep Wisconsin Warm and Cool Fund. You can find out how to get involved and donate. Just head over to our website, channel3000.com. Still ahead on weekend mornings, how Wisconsin officials are reacting to yesterday morning's fatal ICE shooting. But before we head to break, here's a look at your gas prices. We're back after this. This morning, another person is dead at the hands of an ICE agent after protests escalated in Minneapolis. How Wisconsin's top leaders are responding.
Plus, we continue to be very, very cold across southern Wisconsin. I'll talk about how long this will last coming up.
And state lawmakers are attempting to save Wisconsin after a month of a blackout. The steps they're taking ahead. Good Sunday morning. I'm your anchor, Michelle Renee Quinn. You're watching Weekend Mornings, and we've got a cold start to our morning. But first, we begin with breaking news. There have been reports of shots fired and a man needing CPR. Police responded early this morning to Primrose Lane in Madison. The condition of the victim is still unknown, but this is a developing story, and we will continue to keep you updated on air and online as it progresses. Now let's check in with meteorologist Jacob Montesano for your weather.
Thanks, Michelle Renee. Temperatures still very cold this morning. If you could believe it, they actually are a little bit warmer compared to this time yesterday. Still below zero at -2 in Madison, but some parts of the area are actually creeping back up above zero for the first time since Thursday. Now, you folks near La Crosse are a lot colder, -teens for you folks. And the big difference from today to yesterday is that the winds are a little bit more breezy, and so it is creating some wind chills very similar to yesterday, despite the fact that actual temperatures are a lot better. Still cold, I should point out, but -20-degree wind chills for a lot of the region, and those that aren't in the -20s, mostly in the -teens, and if you just feel a little bit of that wind, it will be noticeably colder. Now, as we take a look at the alert day information, still going to see it last through Monday morning as wind chills could continue to be in the -20s, maybe even close to -30 for tomorrow morning. So more bitterly cold temperatures today and tomorrow, but it will at least slowly get better, and I'll talk more about that coming up in just a bit.
Thank you, Jacob. Folks at home, you can track the forecast yourself on our First Warn Weather app. It's free in your phone's app store. Just search WISC Weather. At the top of the hour this morning, federal agents shot and killed a 37-year-old man in Minneapolis yesterday morning. The shooting comes on the heels of the death of Renee Good, who was shot by ICE officers as well. Christian Benavides is bringing us the latest.
Cell phone videos captured the moments leading up to the shooting death of 37-year-old U.S. citizen Alex Preddy after an encounter between protesters and federal officers. A Border Patrol agent pushes a woman who is a protester. Preddy gets in between the woman and the agent, who then appears to deploy pepper spray. As Preddy is being taken to the ground by a group of federal officers, one of them discovers he is armed with a handgun. Another officer opens fire.
The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots.
The Department of Homeland Security released this photo of a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. Minnesota officials say Preddy, an ICU nurse, had a valid permit to carry and was legally allowed to have the handgun in Minnesota, which is an open carry state.
I just saw a video of more than 6 masked agents pummeling one of our constituents and shooting him to death. How many more residents, how many more Americans need to die or get badly hurt for this operation to end?
Protests have escalated following the incident, which comes just 2 weeks after the death of Renee Good, also at the hands of a federal officer who said he fired in self-defense.
We don't disagree that there is an issue with criminal immigrants. We all agree that there is an issue with how it's being addressed right now, with complete lack of regard for human life and dignity.
In response to the shooting, more than 1,000 protesters took to the streets in Minneapolis in sub-zero temperatures, with other protests being held in solidarity nationwide. Christian Benavides, CBS News.
In the wake of the shooting, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says that Democrats will not put up the necessary votes to advance a bill that funds the Department of Homeland Security. And the aftermath of the shooting led political brass in our state to respond to the incident on social media. In a brief statement, Governor Tony Evers simply said, "Wisconsin stands with Minnesota." And Republican Congressman Derek Van Orden referenced the alleged long-running monetary fraud in Minnesota, saying Democrats must stop their rhetoric that has incited this type of violence against our federal law enforcement officers. Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin calling this, quote, "another totally unnecessary tragedy. These unmasked, armed, and untrained ICE agents are totally out of control and making Minneapolis less safe." She continues, "This has all gone too far and the president needs to put an end to this. Get ICE out of Minneapolis." The 37-year-old protester Alex Peretti was born in Illinois and raised in Wisconsin, graduating high school in Green Bay. His father told the Associated Press he cared about people deeply and was very upset with what was happening in Minneapolis. He was participating in protests following the killing of Renee Good by an ICE officer after Donald Trump's immigration crackdown. In more local news this morning, a bill to help restore funding for Wisconsin Eye is heading to the state Senate. The state's version of C-SPAN went dark in December after nearly 2 decades of covering press conferences, committee hearings, and floor sessions. The new proposal puts $10 million into a trust fund with interest going to the network. Assembly Republicans and Democrats say transparency remains a priority.
It's very important for the public to have access.
At a time when we don't always find consensus, it is nice that on something like transparency and open government, I think we're in sync, so thank you for that.
However, the trust fund interest won't cover Wisconsin Eye's full $900,000 budget. As a result, the network will have to raise several $100,000 each year. President Trump has officially been back in office for a year, but do Wisconsinites think that year has been successful? Marquette Law School poll director Charles Franklin says the most important topics to Wisconsinites are inflation, the cost of living, and healthcare costs. Franklin joins political reporter Elie Liberté this week on For the Record, discussing how moves the president's made have played out in the Badger State.
The other thing that we see is Wisconsin, like the country, is concerned about tariffs and really think tariffs have hurt Wisconsin farmers. And on that issue, even among Republicans, only a third think that tariffs have helped farmers, a third of Republicans think they've hurt farmers, and a third of Republicans think they haven't had any effect on farmers.
Franklin says in Wisconsin, the president is polling slightly above the national average. You can catch Ellie's conversation with him this morning at 10:30 on For the Record. From petting zoos to pumpkin patches to sleigh rides, Wisconsin's farms offer a variety of activities throughout the year. Right now, some events are facing new restrictions around alcohol. This year, legislation took effect limiting alcohol at barn weddings. A group of state lawmakers introduced legislation late last year looking to ease those restrictions. During an awards ceremony, farmers with the Wisconsin Agriculture Tourism Association spoke about the need for farmer-friendly legislation. Ag tourism is projected to grow 13% in the next 5 years.
Since COVID, people want to get out to the country. They want to experience the countryside. A lot of people have no experience with agriculture, where their food comes from. They want to see it, experience, and be there.
Lawmakers supporting the bill hope to have it passed in time for the barn wedding season later this year. And as we are still in the midst of one of the coldest few day spans in years, it's having a major significance on farmers across Wisconsin, forcing them to put normal tasks on hold this week and prioritizing the safety of their animals. At Trifecta Farms in Fox Lake, they've assured the well-being and comfort of 400 milking cows. That's by keeping the animals well bedded with jackets, deep straw, and fluffy bedding. Them having running water, making sure the calves can continue to grow and stay healthy, all while also adding extra calories to cows' diets to make sure their bodies are maintaining normal functions like producing milk, growing calves, and keeping themselves healthy.
Everyone here at the farm is on high alert, just making sure that if somebody looks off or if something doesn't look right, that we can be ahead of the curve and just making sure that we give those animals a little extra special attention. We just look at 24 hours at a time. What can we do to make it through the next 24 hours?
Being vigilant and maintaining warmth has been the #1 priority this weekend. Opening and closing pen doors only when needed to help with ventilation and preventing more cold air from coming into buildings that are heated. Still ahead on Weekend Mornings, we will be checking in with Kyrion Lee and Dr. Rupa Shah.
But first, I'll be back with a full look at the forecast for the upcoming week. This is Weekend Mornings. Stick around. Welcome back. Here's a look at the high temperatures over the last 2 weeks. And less than 2 weeks ago, on January 13th, the high was 53 degrees. Meanwhile, yesterday and Friday, the high was -4 and -3. The low was -19. So we're talking about a temperature swing from last Tuesday of over 70 degrees. Now, over the course of the month, we had that warm start to the month. It wasn't just last Tuesday where we had some days over 20 degrees above normal. Last 2 days, though, obviously very cold. And because of that, the departure from normal over the course of the month is actually right around 0. But because we'll see those cold temperatures for the rest of this week, we likely will see the overall average for the month drop below 0. But it really has been a tale of 2 months across Wisconsin.
Unfortunately. Thanks, Jacob. As we continue to push through this stretch of bitter cold, you can help News 3 Now and Channel 3000 this upcoming week for the Week of Warmth. Help us raise money for the Keep Wisconsin Warm and Cool Fund. Find out how you can get involved and donate by heading over to our website, channel3000.com. And if you're missing out on quality sleep, that can do more than put you in a bad mood. It can be bad for your health. SSM Health's Dr. Rupa Shah joins News 3 Now's Kyrion Lee for this morning's health conversation.
If you find yourself struggling to get quality sleep at night, you're not alone. Wellness coach and SSM Health family medicine physician Dr. Rupa Shah is here to share ideas to help you get better sleep. Dr. Shah, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So good sleep, hard to come by some days for some people.
Totally.
So why is getting enough quality sleep important?
We know that good quality sleep is tied to so many good health outcomes. It can reduce the incidence of chronic disease, help with diabetes control, and it's important for our physical and our mental health, right? It also makes us more productive. It helps with our focus, attention. So it just really improves our quality of life. It is really just mission critical for having a happy, healthy life.
Okay, so we need to get to that quality sleep. So what are some routines you can build on to achieve good quality sleep here?
I always like to start with just overall sleep hygiene, just that preparation stage as you're getting ready for bed at night. This involves also going to bed at the same time every night and waking up at the same time, even on the weekends, which is really hard for some people, but it is important because it keeps you in that routine. Building a good sleep hygiene routine refers to all those things you do before bed, and you really want to start these about an hour or two before you want to get to sleep. So turning off those screens, the TVs, the iPads, your phones, tablets, because all of those emit those blue light. That's going to tell your pineal gland, hey, it's still time to stay awake, when in fact, we want to start calming down and getting ready to doze off. The other thing, really important, to have a really dark room, a nice quiet room, making sure the temperature is turned down a little bit. And then, of course, all the things about your mattress, your pillow, those are all really important, making sure you're comfortable at night and that you don't have a lot of clutter in your bedroom. I always say that, but if you know that you have stacks of laundry and boxes to open, that's not going to make it easier to help you fall asleep at night.
No, not at all. Those are good things. Yeah, I cannot sleep if there's too much going on in the room.
Me neither.
So if you tried to build better sleep hygiene and you're still struggling to sleep, what are some other things you can do?
Definitely speak to your physician. We have medications to help folks if they're having some chronic insomnia issues, but also to help detect if maybe you're having some more deeper sleep issues, such as sleep apnea, restless legs, something else that might be interfering with your sleep. So it's really important to bring this up with your doctor because there's a lot of resources that we can point you to get to the bottom of it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And lastly, where can we find you for all those tips and sleep hygiene knowings and everything we need to know?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Wellness with Dr. Shah.
Dr. Shah, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Ladies, thank you. Now, if you guys have questions about your consumer rights, email me. I'm getting expert answers as your consumer reporter to your consumer questions next month when I sit down with Michelle Reiner. She's from the Wisconsin Department of Consumer Protection. So whether it's a question about warranties, product labeling, scams, or anything related to your consumer rights, email those questions to me at mrquinn@wisctv.com. Then look for those answers after our interview that'll be coming up next month on Weekend Mornings. And the winter often leaves you without much to do, especially in this freezing weather, but that's But what's better for warming up from the cold than a hot and hearty meal? And if you agree, it's good news. Madison's Winter Restaurant Week starts today. This event is the perfect opportunity to sample the city's wide range of local restaurants. Eateries in the area are offering prefixed 3-course menus starting at $30 per person. Some restaurants will also be offering a lunch menu for $20. And find out if your local favorite or a place you've been wanting to try is participating by searching Madison Restaurant Week. The event runs today through Friday. Time now 7:45. Still ahead, sports anchor Kay Racine shows us if the Badgers are Olympic ready. Plus, here's a live look at your road conditions this morning. Jacob is bringing you the final forecast when we come back on weekend mornings. And if you have a little kid turning 3 soon, let us know so we can share their picture and wish them a happy birthday. Keep it here. We're back after the break.
Welcome back, everyone. Here's a final look at the 3 things you need to know. Staying bitterly cold through tomorrow with very little snowfall this week, and temperatures will slowly improve throughout the week, and by next weekend they definitely will be better, but still on the colder side. But we still have that alert day for the rest of today through tomorrow. Wind chills could be as cold as -30 at times, especially for tomorrow morning. Thankfully, they're not going to be in those -40-degree ranges that we saw Friday morning. But there is a cold weather advisory going into effect at midnight tonight, lasting through noon tomorrow. So Monday morning, we will see a return of this dangerously cold air, and still on the dangerous side right now. Wind chills are in the -10s and -20s. They will stay below 0 throughout the day, but then cool back down into the -20s once we get towards Monday morning. And similar to today, they will stay below 0 throughout the day. Now, Tuesday is going to get a little bit better, but still on the colder side, and wind chills are going to stay below 0 mainly because Tuesday will be a bit breezy. And then throughout the rest of the week, we're going to continue to see at least morning wind chills a little bit below 0, but not in that -20-degree range that we're seeing right now or tomorrow morning. But for right now and tomorrow morning, we're still going to be in this yellow box where we could see frostbite in as little as 20 to 30 minutes. So it's still advised to stay inside and bundle up if you have to be outside. Definitely make it very quick. So looking at the snow chances during all this, obviously the snow that's on the ground is still not going anywhere as it's just way too cold for it to melt. But we're not going to see a lot of additional snowfall. Small chance of some light snow for areas south and east today with that system moving across the United States, and a small chance of some light snow Monday night into Tuesday. Beyond that, looking very dry, but not really going to see a big warm up. We'll see teens for highs for the middle of the week, then 20s possible by next weekend. But notice through the middle of the week, we're still going to have lows near 0, which means wind chills will likely still be below 0 just about every morning. Madison will have a very similar forecast to La Crosse. So although it is going to get warmer, it's still not really going to be a whole lot better. But it certainly will be at least a little bit better compared to what we've seen this past weekend.
Good morning, Madison. With the Winter Olympics coming up fast, this weekend will be the last weekend Wisconsin women's hockey will have all of their players together. Next week, 5 of them will be leaving to head to Italy for the Winter Olympics, and they will all have to find a way to play like they did last night, taking on Benji State, who scored first. But the Badgers weren't worried about that at all as Kristen Sims slaps one in for the Badgers. And they continue beating down as Caroline Harvey gets one to go, and the Badgers dominate this one together, winning with ease 10-3. And as the team and the players prepare to head out, we will just have to wait and see what the team looks like as they take on Minnesota next week. But for now, have a great morning, Madison.
You too, Kay. This weekend, the Denver Broncos face off against the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship in the Mile High City. The winner of Sunday's big game will advance to the Super Bowl. Kickoff is 2 p.m. today, and you can watch that right here on WISC TV. And today marks the 102nd anniversary of the Winter Olympics. That's still ahead on weekend mornings. Plus, here's a look at what's to come on For the Record.
Coming up on For the Record, it was a busy week at the state capitol for lawmakers, and from data centers to no taxes on tips, we're breaking down the Assembly and Senate floor sessions. Plus, what officials in Rock County are doing to strengthen protections for survivors of domestic violence. That's ahead this morning on For the Record at 10:30. You're watching Weekend Mornings.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Finally, this morning marks the 102nd anniversary of the first Winter Olympics. The competition was held in the French Alps on January 25th, 1924. There were 14 events involving 6 sports. At the time, the competition was known as the International Winter Sports Week. 4 years later, the International Olympic Committee officially designated the Winter Games. That year it took place in Switzerland. And the 25th edition of the Winter Olympics kicks off in Milan, Italy on February 6th. The games will last more than 2 weeks. And what you just saw right there, that's my favorite part. The figure skating is what the Winter Olympics is about for MRQ.
I've never really watched the Winter Olympics. The one time I did was back in, I think it was 2010 when it was U.S. versus Canada in the final hockey game.
Okay.
Because there were a lot of Blackhawks players, and obviously I'm a Chicago sports fan on that USA team. And I remember it went to overtime. It was a very game. But I've never really been a big Olympics person watcher, even the Summer Olympics, with the exception of Michael Phelps. I always watched him.
Oh, yeah, everybody watches Phelps.
Now to today's morning motivational quote. Today it's from Charles Swindle.
And he says, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react.
It's all about handling adversity. It's, not everything's gonna be smooth sailing. It's, as he says, it's how you react to it and how you respond.
Yes, so your choices, they have consequences. So you take that 90% and you make it great. And let's get one last final check of the forecast before we go.
Yeah, not gonna see much snow, but we will continue to see those cold temperatures. Alert day conditions continue through tomorrow. Then for the middle of the week, we'll see highs in the teens, lows near 0. So again, it's still going to be very cold with wind chills below 0 to start the day. That will continue through Saturday morning as well. Then we get to the end of the weekend and next week, and we'll start to see those temperatures improve into the 20s. But again, still on the colder side. It is January in Wisconsin. What else is new?
Literally. Well, thanks for watching Weekend Mornings. Tune in next Saturday. We're live at 5 and 8. And coming up next is CBS Sunday Morning, followed by Face the Nation and For the Record. Our next newscast is coming up at 5:30.